have a, if you're emailing me, try to email me at my AOL address primarily. Several students emailed me at my CCRI email, which I did not get. I just checked my CCRI email like 5 minutes ago, and I did get your emails, except I just got them.
You read mine?
You can't count on CCRI's email, so if you're emailing me, please, AOL as your first attempt, okay? Because I don't want to.
That's what happened in one of my classes.
Yeah,
He kept
It's
saying,
up, it's down,
he
it's up,
kept
it's
saying,
down.
oh, I didn't get it. What do you mean I didn't?
Well, and it does, it makes you look, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, you feel like, well, I sent it.
I got that
And
class.
we're saying, but I didn't get it, you know, and it's frustrating, so that's why I give you my
I
AOL.
was mad.
Okay, so, next week is our guest client, and we will be doing, myself and the guest client will be doing an assessment here, okay? And you will be doing part of your assignment as we do the assessment. The rest of the assignment you'll do, obviously, after class next week and prior to the following week. So the first thing I'm going to do is pass out the directions and then the assignment itself. I'm going to try and keep this door open just because it gets so warm in here. Okay, so take one of this, which is the directions, and then take one of this, which is the actual assignment, and I will review it with you. So hold your questions until everyone gets it, and I go over the directions with you. The sign-in sheet's going around. Where is the sign-in sheet?
Over here.
Okay, so when it gets over here, if someone could just bring it back to Josie, and we'll hit this side, please. Second, just let somebody else has to go first. Okay, yep, okay, just watch that. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do, folks, I'm handing out a handout that I have done for you on assessment writing. I'm going to review this with you. If I don't get to review it tonight, I will review it, of course, first thing next week. So I'm handing it out to you now in that if I do not get to go over it with you tonight, I want you to read it and be prepared to review it next week, okay? So everyone should take one of these. Assessment writing, it's called. Oh, wait a minute, here's one more.
All right, you got one of it.
I know. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, does everyone have the assignment and the directions? What do you? Okay. Who doesn't have what? No, I don't have. Okay. Yeah, so I only have this camera, so you'll have to watch it on VHS unless you want.
I have one.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Do I pick it up and give you a
Just,
mailbox?
if you can just write those, yeah, that's, when she says sign in, she just write.
You're gonna be
Put a
looking
comment on that.
That would be so helpful.
Yeah, it'll be in my,
Yeah,
it'll be in the
I wanna
mailbox
do that,
next
and I'm
Monday
gonna
night,
just
right
put it
after
in
class.
YouTube so you can go.
Oh, that would be great.
So just see me at the
I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna give you my address. So you talk.
Okay, so, first things first. Does everyone have this two-sided functional assessment assignment? Okay, so these are the directions. Yep, you don't have one? Whoops, okay. Are there any other extras
Yeah,
floating
I got
around
one.
somewhere? No, not the staple one.
We're gonna get one of the staple ones over here.
Not the staple ones. I'm looking for
Oh, okay.
functional assessment assignment.
And we'll need those. The assessment right
Yeah,
here.
we just got.
You're gonna need those
Okay,
for-
assessment writing should be coming around.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, we just ran out. We need these more.
What?
Someone's recording.
This is.
I made 25, so there should be one for everyone.
This, I got the,
You should have,
I got the function, I can't
You
even say
should,
a functional
listen up,
assessment
folks, come on,
assignment.
because we have a lot of work to do tonight,
I got a
please, stay
functional-
focused. Shh, let me speak. You should have functional assessment assignment. How many people do not have that? Okay, the next thing you should have is functional assessment assignment that has your name, a line for your name on the front page. Does everyone have that? Okay, then you should have a handout that says assessment writing. That looks like this. Who does not have that? How did that happen? Okay, I'll have to make some on the break. So 4, okay. Sorry about that.
Assessment writing?
Assessment writing.
Okay, I got one.
Let me just double check my file.
Does anybody have the notes on the assessment writing that they can either email to me or
I wouldn't be, you don't want my notes, I can get it email.
anyone that takes them notes? Nobody takes the notes?
Oh, ta-da.
Mine's all over the place.
I knew I had them. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
No, you said.
Did she send out anything?
I knew I did.
Yeah, I got some if you wanna just copy it.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, all right, so let's
I
start
need this.
with,
You might have that.
I'm gonna ask the question.
Oh, my God.
okay, here we go, folks.
Can you make copies?
So directions for the assignment.
You need to make copies.
After observing the functional assessment of our guest client, which means you will sit while I do the assignment and the assessment with the client
What
here
page are you reading
in the front of
exactly?
the room. I'm on the directions.
The direction.
Okay. You will complete a written functional assessment based on your observations and notes made during the assessment. The assessment must be written in paragraph form. Please use the basic 12 font in black or blue ink. Staple your assessment in the top left corner. I don't need cover pages, plastic folder covers. Just staple it in the top left corner, okay? Grading will be based on your ability to respond to and complete the written functional assessment in detail. You must also demonstrate accurate spelling, grammar, sentence structure, sentence construction, which is the same as sentence
Excuse me one
structure.
second before you read
Yeah,
on.
hold on, let me get through this, so we're never gonna get through it. Hold your questions.
Right.
Okay, please. Accurate spelling, accurate grammar, accurate sentence construction, and accurate punctuation, okay? The use of paragraphs to divide the content of the assessment in each section, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Remember, one sentence is not a paragraph. You're going to write in the third person as noted below, and there's also examples of that in the handout I gave you on writing skills. So third person means that you're not saying I, okay? Third person is referring to yourself as writer or the client as the client or Mr. Melrose, which is his name, okay? And again, I'll go over this. You must support your responses through your direct observations you made during the assessment. Whenever possible, use direct quotes from the client. Use appropriate reporting language as written in the Hatfield text and in the handout that I just gave you. And there is assigned reading in the Hatfield text on assessment writing. Again, you also might want to review the written assessment in the Lucas text as one example of a written assessment, and I attach that to that handout for you. So reporting language. For the client, in the contents of your written work, you are going to refer to the client as Mr. Melrose or client. I don't want to be reading your assessment and read he. I want either the client, or Mr. Melrose, okay?
Every time?
Every time, yeah. Some examples of appropriate reporting language, and this will make more sense when we go over the written writing skills handout that I just gave you. So the client presents, the client appears, the client stated, the client said, the client reports, okay? For example, for the interviewer, which is going to be myself, you're going to refer to me in your written work as the clinician, or Ms. Patnode, or the interviewer, or interviewer, okay? Again, some examples of appropriate reporting language. The clinician stated, or Ms. Patnode stated, or the interviewer stated, or the interviewer asked. says writer or writer, so I don't want to see I. Okay, I want to see writer, that's referring to yourself in the third person. Do not, remember, this isn't about diagnosing the client, so I don't want to read things like, therefore, in my opinion, he's a bipolar schizophrenic with obsessive compulsive disorder. Okay, I'm not looking for diagnoses. I don't want you to draw any conclusions. I don't want any slang language or words or statements that appear to be judgmental. The client was wearing dirty clothes, therefore he must live in a shelter for homeless people. Okay, no judgments, just observations. And do not offer your opinion or advice. So I'm not looking for what you think should happen to the client or what you would recommend for the client in terms of treatment. Okay? Now, when you do the assignment, this is the actual assignment, okay? So on the assignment, if you, depending on your writing style, if you want to hand it in with Roman numeral 1, all of this information, Roman numeral 1A, all the information, Roman numeral, next page 2, all that information, okay? If you want to use these same sections, you can, that's fine, okay, as long as you hit every point in every section. If you want to just do a free-flowing assessment, that's okay too, as long as you hit all of these points. So depending on your writing style and how you'd like to organize your writing, it doesn't matter to me, as long as you hit all of these key points, okay? So in the first section, well, of course you're going to put your name, the client, what he tells us his name is, the interviewer, which is going to be myself, and next week's date. You don't have to hand this in, just make sure that this identifying information is on your paper that you hand in, okay? Now, again, depending on your style, there are two ways I think that it's sort of easy to approach this, depending on primarily your listening skills and your observation skills. I'll tell you the two ways. One way is to have, do you have does anyone have the functional assessment tool?
Yeah.
The one from last week? Okay. So here's one way, okay? If you're someone who can listen and observe and you feel confident in your listening and your observation skills, what I would suggest for all of you, at least for the initial part of next week's assignment, is that you have this in front of you and that you fill it in as we go along. Because remember, the first part of the assessment is based on your observation skills. So rather than you trying to remember what all the choices are, if you have this in front of you, you can write, Mr. Melrose, and you can use this as sort of a scratch sheet. You can be checking things off, making little notes to yourself. I'm not going to collect this, so use this as a tool, okay? That, I think, is the easiest, at least for the first part, okay? The other thing that you can then do is, do you have a hat there?
Ooh, I saw that. Oh my.
I saw that too.
Just find the pages, because your book is different than my book. Just what I'm looking for. Okay, so here's the other thing that you can do. Okay? So here's what I suggest, and next week, if you're shifting papers to go from one to the other, that's fine, it's not gonna matter, okay? So what I suggest is that you have the tool, which I just gave back, you have the tool in front of you, okay? As soon as we start, you look at your tool and you start checking off based on your observations of the client, okay? Once I start the script of the interview, which is in your book, on pages 33, 34, 35, 36, and 37. 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. Okay, so what I would suggest is after you do your initial observation, when I start the script, which is this exact script, you have this in front of you, you have these pages in front of you, and you start filling in the answers, okay? Because I'm going to literally be asking all of these questions. I am going to stop at
32
wait.
was started.
hang on.
30.
So, what's going to happen is, again, have your tool in front of you, you do your little observation, you check things off, okay? I'm then going to start the script, the assessment. These are the questions I'm going to ask, exactly as they are in your book, starting on page 33. So when I get into sort of the content, the meat and potatoes of the assessment, I'm going to say, so, Mr. Melrose, in general, how would you describe your health, okay? Or something similar to what you see here, but I'm going to follow this exact script. So if after you do your little observation, you have pages 33 through 38
I have all of these right there.
in front of you,
38.
you can start filling in the responses, okay, just as you hear them. This way, you don't have to worry about what I asked. It's already in front of you. You just have to worry about getting responses you can use to write quotes, okay? It's much more efficient, my opinion, okay? So I will be asking every question on page 33, 34, 35, 36, and I am stopping
38.
I'm actually not doing all of page 37. I'll be stopping on page 37, question 8. So I will not be asking question 9 or the remaining questions. Okay? So that's, I think, the easiest way for you to get the information. Okay? So what you'll notice about the assignment, which I left here. What you'll notice about the assignment is that the categories go in the same way that you're going to gather the information, okay? So when you do your written assignment, if you want to do section 1, and you give me all of the identifying data.
Can that be in bullet
Okay.
form?
What's that?
Can
No,
that-
this
no,
is in
that-
paragraph form. Everything you're writing,
Okay.
everything you're submitting is in paragraph form.
Alright.
I don't want bullets, I don't want
I just didn't know if that was for like
no,
identifying.
No, I want everything in paragraph form.
Okay.
Okay? So section 1, you're gonna tell me in paragraph form, client's name, gender, birthday, age, race, ethnic and cultural affiliations, marital status, spouse's name, all that data that I'm going to get from him initially.
And you want
Okay?
that in paragraph?
Everything is in paragraph form, yes. 1A, you're going to start to describe information that the client gives. And the information, again, is based on the script, right? So you're gonna be gathering that information, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to, based on the client's responses, you're going to do your assessment around the lecture from last week and the rest of this week, okay? So you are going to be assessing, look on the second page, the client's mental status, what he identifies as the presenting problem, the intensity and duration, antecedents of the problem behavior, consequences, and goals, okay? But again, the client's going to give you all of the responses that you need, okay? So you are going to be looking for content after your observation, okay? So what I would suggest is that you read the assignment this week, make sure you understand it, make sure you apply your notes, lecture, all of the content we talked about the week before last week, and what we'll finish up with this week. That's the content that you need to apply to this assignment, okay? All right, so if you were not here, I would strongly suggest you find someone who is an excellent note taker, because otherwise you are not gonna be able to complete this assignment successfully, okay? This is really important content that, I mean, everything's important, but this is very important content for this assignment, okay? Michael?
I wasn't here, but was it in everything we read in the book?
Everything in Lucas, yes.
Did this-
Yep.
oh, okay.
I gave lots of examples,
All right.
so, you know, again, you may want to chat it up with someone, but, you know, everything in this assignment is in the Lucas book and the Hatfield book, okay?
Can I please have the handout from last week? Do you
Uh,
have any?
I don't know if I have any with me. I was actually, did I give it last week or the week before? Oh, yes, I do have some.
Great. Even if you just have one, I'll share. That's perfect, thank you. Oh, do you need one too? She needs one too.
I think I handed it out the week before. Okay, any other questions about the assignment? This I handed out the week before last, so if you were here the week before last, you should have it. Functional assessment key points. Everybody's got it. No, you have it. You have it about 100 times. You're like a club, Joe. Everyone else doesn't have it.
Well, I don't have that.
Hold on, where is it?
Functional assessment key points. Everyone should have it if you were here.
What day was that?
I don't know, that is not my responsibility. If you weren't here, you're responsible to get the material. Go on. All right, moving ahead, moving ahead, moving ahead. If anyone does not have it, then find someone who does, and I would suggest you copy it. It's basically the key points, but if you don't have it, it's straight out of the Lucas book.
Oh, okay.
The Hatfield text.
What I read in the book, what I read in the book is exactly what I'm gonna do.
What's that?
What I read in the
Yes.
Lucas book already.
Yes, if you read your Lucas assignments,
I read the whole book.
you should be good to go.
All right.
You should be good to go. If you want to take a look at the assignment this coming week and, make sure you feel prepared for it, that's a good idea, okay? Because if you don't feel prepared, then you can ask the questions next week. But you should be prepared by the end of this evening, okay? Did everyone get the sign-in sheet? Okay,
I got it.
I knew it.
I got two, I don't have to.
See, you got two.
Yeah, well, I can't help it because sometimes I miss the big ones. Yeah, of course. No, what happens is when I take two, because when one paper I write on, and one paper I put in for another, like, for, no, yeah, in the book. I do, I try, I do.
Okay, are we ready to move on to interviews? Everyone's good to go? Hello? Yes? You have miles to go before we sleep. Okay. Okay, so what you're going to do for the interview, the person who is the client, of course, is going to be at the door. You're going to approach the door from back here, okay, because obviously we have the cord up here and I don't want any access.
Thank you, Joseph.
I can't really put it down because it won't, if I put it there, it's not gonna pick up the sound, so.
Okay, so you want one to walk in front when they sit down?
Yeah, so the client is going to sit here, which makes it easier for the client because they're here. And then the interviewer can just approach the chair this way, okay? I'm fine. Okay? Okay, now, we already have
Richard's a great partner.
the first interview and the second interview ready to roll because people already volunteered to be first and second.
What happened?
Oh, what we doing?
No, me and Richard.
Oh, come on. All right, four.
You were first, wait, who was first?
Or you might as well last.
Well, somebody already asked me to be first, who was it?
Me.
Okay, and then
somebody was second, yeah.
I think Megan is second.
Who's
Megan already asked.
Yeah.
After that, up
Yeah,
first.
Caleb, this is Caleb.
Fourth, fifth,
Six.
sixth, okay. Yay. You keep track. Watch out.
I wonder if this was.
I guess it's 6, I guess.
She's interviewing first though.
Oh, you got me.
Is that what 6 you get egg rolls?
No, I need to, I just need to plug it
Is that
in.
that old book and look at the 6 you get
Put
egg
it in
rolls?
here.
You would think
It's
that-
brand new.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so this,
Is mine. Ooh, wow. It's just for me.
okay, I don't need this in right now.